This is Pierre Bouvier, lead singer of the band Simple Plan. I could sing a song for you, Wine 30 with Andrew and Lindsey. Here we go. Andrew and Lindsey hosting Wine 30. Andrew and Lindsey. Through all the best and many more years to come tonight. I'm just a kid. Many more years to come. Peace.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Wine 30 podcast.
And this is such a special episode because we had probably my favorite interviewee, Tahj Mowry.
You may recognize him from Baby Daddy, from Full House, from Smart Guy, from, he was even on Friends. He's been on everything.
Yeah, and he's just such a real bright light to have around.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most charismatic people we have ever interviewed. And
I love his laugh.
Yes.
And I hope we get to chat with him more in the future.
And after you listen to this interview, I really urge you to click the link in the show notes and go watch his new movie, Welcome Matt, which is about this guy who something traumatic happens. He becomes agoraphobic. This was even filmed pre-COVID, which you'll find out in the interview.
Yeah,
and
you're going to hear all about it.
And we just want you guys to go check it out. Andrew laughed out loud at the trailer. So
it was great.
You know it's going to be good. So we will talk to you guys next week for another episode of the Wine 30 podcast, and enjoy the interview. Welcome to the Wine 30 podcast with Tahj Mowry, and we are super excited to have him. First off, Tahj, will you introduce yourself to people who have been living in a hole for the past 30 years?
My name is Tahj Mowry. Hello, everyone. I've been in this acting business pretty much my whole life. Mostly TV, but little shows like Full House, Smart Guy, most recently Baby Daddy. So I'm very, very thankful for the career I've been able to have. So yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Which you also have a cooking Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
I do love to cook. I do.
Which, do you plan on doing like a cookbook at any point in time, or is that just kind of on the back burner?
I feel like I have to at some point. I'm a bachelor as well. So like, I feel like for the other bachelors out there, my bachelor family, I feel like, some of them may need a little introduction and maybe some instructions on how to cook their own food there. But I love to cook. So yeah, it's fun for me.
How was your COVID experience?
It was crazy for everybody. I'd be silly to say that if I didn't say that, but it was good for me in the sense that I realized that it was a time for me to sort of step back, reset, recalibrate my entire being. You know what I mean? And it made me more appreciative for the things that I have, here and now, like family that I'm so thankful that lives close to me. You know what I mean? So I was able to see them actually more often than I would have if there wasn't a pandemic. So yeah, it was a good time to rest for me, to lean into those things that truly matter, like faith, family, cooking, coffee, wine.
Yay.
Speaking of wine, your sister lives in Napa, which is where we're originally from. What have been like your favorite wineries that you've toured in Napa?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd be silly. They have their tasting room is incredible, and their wine, Century Oak Winery, is, I can't say that that's not my favorite, because it is, and I tell Adam this as well, my brother-in-law, that their Zinfandel is the only one that I drink. So I love wine, and any winery in Napa is just an experience in itself to go to. So like, I'm excited to explore the other wine countries because I kind of have only experienced Napa, but there's more that I want to experience.
So speaking of drinks, what is your favorite party drink, casual drink, and depression drink?
I try not to drink when the depression comes because then you can go down a dark hole. But I'd say party drink, probably an old fashioned. And that goes for I feel like that's a good party drink because I'd rather someone else make that for me. But I guess like just when I'm out, that's my drink. But a casual drink is just a neat whiskey, a neat tequila. I'm that kind of guy. I like to sip, after a long day and watch a good flick. But those are my go-tos.
Awesome. So we're going to ask you a quick, few questions about your brand new movie, which is called Welcome, Matt. So for those who haven't heard about it, they haven't seen the trailer, how would you summarize the movie?
Yeah. Welcome, Matt is the story of a recently famous writer-director, Matthew Hillard, and he gains a lot of fame and recognition for a movie he does called Life's the Beach. And he's sort of in the process of gearing up to, figure out what his next film will be. And the studios and his partners are waiting for him, when are you going to start this? Where's the script? All that. And during that process, he goes through a very traumatic experience, which you find out in the film what that is. And it sort of derails him into a state of, depression, anxiety, just a lot of pain and trauma. And he ultimately realizes that he has agoraphobia. He's deathly afraid to leave his house, and he thinks that his house is the only safe place to be. So he decides to come up with the horrible idea to write, star, and direct in his next film, All From Home, which is the worst idea he could possibly think of. And he finds out during the film that maybe that wasn't the best choice, and he's got to do the necessary steps to, come out of this darkness that he's in and use the people around him as a support system and finally speak up about, the pain that he's dealing with.
So what did you do to prepare for this role? Were there some things that helped you get into the mindset? I know COVID.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy because we filmed this before anybody knew what COVID was. The timing is just crazy, kind of perfect. But that's amazing. I'm very happy that happened that way. But yeah, we didn't know what COVID was, but to get into this role, Matt is a very layered character, and he's in a very dark place when we see him. So, what I did was I basically, beforehand leading up, I didn't really hang out with friends, hang out with family. I wanted to sort of remove myself socially from all that kind of stuff just to be in the same mental space as close as I could possibly get to Matt. I focused on movies movies that showed people with agoraphobia or movies that showed people, with depression and problems with their mental health. And the top one for me was a movie called Copycat, which is a 90s thriller movie, which is one of my favorites. And it was the first movie I thought of when I took on this project because Sigourney Weaver plays a character who has agoraphobia, and she's trying to help solve this crime, but she can't leave her house and she's deathly afraid of anything but her home. So I made sure I studied that, and inspirations for the film were movies like 50-50, Everything Must Go with Will Ferrell, where he basically lives in his yard after his divorce the entire movie. So it's kind of similar to Matt. But yeah, I basically just wanted to make sure that I knew how to play, someone having a panic attack. And funny, and I guess I'm thankful for it now, is, panic attacks are something that I've experienced in my life. So I knew what they felt like already. I knew, the anxiety. I knew what that anxiety does to your breathing and how, sometimes after a panic attack, all you can do is just pass out and take a nap because your energy is gone. So I knew I knew how they felt. It was just a matter of finding how to play it. in like a believable way. But I think the movie also has a nice blend of comedy and drama. So it was like finding that perfect balance between the two, but still, paying respect and showing the seriousness and the severity of mental health and of anxiety and of panic attacks and of trauma. So, but I think the movie does that pretty beautifully, in a sense where it makes you laugh and it makes you cry in the same scene at some points. And, you'll be laughing at him, but then you'll be like, wait, I feel really bad for this guy.
Right.
And I think that's the beauty of it.
What would your advice be for people that are currently like struggling with mental health, like depression, anxiety, panic attacks?
Yeah. You know what? I think the first thing that we have to focus on is the present, right? Like where we are in the present. I think a lot of anxiety stems from worry of the future, which in reality, we really have no control over. And COVID taught us all that. We all had so many plans that just went out the window because life happened, and I think as long as we try our best to focus on, where we are now, what we're thankful for now, and realizing that, tomorrow's going to come, it's got its worries on its own. Let's just focus on where we're at now. And I think another important thing is just communication, right? Like, I think a lot of, it's hard to deal with trauma and loss and anxiety when it's built up inside of you and you're not voicing it to anyone, which is why therapy is so special. But I realize not everybody maybe has the courage to do that right away. But, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, talk to anyone that you trust, and sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger like a therapist because, you don't know them, they don't know you. You can feel, I guess, more free to say what you feel like you need to say. But I think communication is key. And that's something in the film that Matt doesn't really do when we first see him. So he has to kind of learn and force himself to deal with these issues and bring up these issues within himself so that he can release them, breathe in, breathe out. And then I think it's the same thing with what we're dealing with, in our mind.
Which former roles that you've done, which of those characters do you think would have benefited from therapy the most?
Probably Tucker from Baby Daddy. He had a lot of issues. He had a lot of issues. So yeah, probably him. And I think he was probably one of those characters that would say that he doesn't need therapy, but really does.
We are going to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor from this week's episode, which is Upstart. So if you dread looking at your credit card statement every month, we definitely don't blame you. Upstart can lift that weight off your shoulders so that you can finally feel the relief of being free of credit card debt. Which that's probably one of the best feelings in the entire world, I just gotta say. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. So whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. And unlike other lenders, Upstart looks at more than just your credit score. So they're looking at things like your income and your employment history. And this means that they can offer you smarter rates with trusted partners. And I love that they do this because maybe you don't have a ton of credit score information. Maybe you're new and you just got a credit card and then you were like, whoa, I'm way over my head, but I have a great job. So this is a great way for you to be matched with your perfect lender. So with a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/wine30. That's upstart.com/wine30. And don't forget to use our URL so that they know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/wine30. So before we go to listener questions, do you have any more pressing questions?
Do you have a dream future role? Like if you could do James Bond,
Yeah. I grew up in sports my whole life, so I'd like to think of myself as a pretty athletic person. I pick up on things quickly, so I'd love to do some sort of action role because I know I'd be able to handle it. I grew up playing football, ended up getting a football scholarship, so I know what the gym is like. I know what it's like to get bigger or get smaller if I need to, and that's probably my ultimate goal. But also more roles like Matt, more dramatic roles that I can dive deeper into all the emotions that us actors dream of playing all the time. I love comedy, but there's just something about going there and bringing out different emotions on a set that brings me joy. So that's why I loved playing Matt, because it was something different from what people are normally used to seeing me do. And it just challenged me. It allowed me to stretch in ways that I haven't had the opportunity to before.
We saw the preview and we love what we've seen so far.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Would you ever consider doing another sitcom, or is that kind of
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just finished a pilot called Black Don't Crack, which was produced by Viola Davis. So super excited about that. It's currently being shopped to different networks right now. So we're excited to see where that's going to land. But yeah, sitcom is, like I said, comedy is kind of built in me. I've been doing it my whole life and I love it so much. I love making people laugh. The things that people have said to me, how a role that I did, brought them out of a dark place because it gave them laughter and joy. I mean, that's all you could really ask for, So I think comedy, touches people in a different way than maybe other genres may. But again, as long as I can do something that allows someone to feel anything, and to be affected in a certain way, I'm all for it. But yeah, I'll never stop doing comedy. I love making people laugh. It's fun for me.
Have you had any big inspirational influences on your life, and how has that changed throughout your career?
Yeah. I think my parents first, apart from, my career, just in life in general, they're my biggest supporters and my biggest influences. They're the hardest working people I know. And the sacrifice they gave for me and my family to be able to do what we do is just I'm so thankful for them. But as far as career goes, I mean, people like Denzel Washington, Jim Carrey, Jamie Foxx. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Elijah Wood. These people that I'm naming, some of them, came from TV and then went into film, which is the sort of the shift that I'm doing right now. So I kind of like to mirror my career on those guys and the guys like Jamie Foxx and Robin Williams, rest in peace, and Jim Carrey. Those guys were seamlessly able to jump from comedy to drama at any given moment. And some of my favorite movies of them were their dramatic roles. Jim Carrey, Eternal Sunshine, Truman Show, those are classic, beautiful films where he sort of dove into his dramatic side. And I love that. So yeah, those are my top influences.
Okay. So now we have some fun listener questions for you. One question that was asked 5 or 6 times, which I found really bizarre, is everyone wants to know what your love language is.
I think it, because I think I know this. I think a friend of mine gave me a book. I think it's wait, is the love language what I give to someone or what I want someone to give to me?
I think it's what you want people to give to you, but there's also what you give to other people. There's the two.
Okay, because I love giving gifts. So that's one thing that gives me joy. I love watching people, even in Christmas, birthdays, I'm that guy that's my Christmas list is always 40 people, just because I want to see their face when they open it, and I want them to know that I care, quality time. think touch was one of them. You know, I like affection. So I think those are the top three.
Nice. And then people were also talking about this interview you did where you said your nieces and nephews were like the best form of birth control. And everyone was like, does that mean he doesn't want kids ever? Like, what does that mean?
No, I actually love kids and I do want kids at one point, but right now I don't.
Yeah.
So, like, right now they're the best form of birth control. But I mean, I have 4 godkids. I have 2 nieces and then 2 nephews. So I'm like surrounded by kids and like, so I'm aware how to take care of them. I know all that. I know what to do to you know, keep them safe and make sure, you know, I know all that. But at this moment, I don't think I want to go down that road. But maybe in like a few years, you know, I mean, it's never saying never. Like I love kids and my entire family and the people around me are constantly, you're going to be a great dad. You're going to be a great dad. I'm like, give me some time, man. Give me some time. But yeah, I definitely want kids at some point.
Awesome. And then if you could go on any reality show, which one would you pick?
Oh, well, I don't watch reality like that. I used to, but my favorite reality show of all time was this show. I think they only did like 2 seasons of it and it was on Discovery Channel and it was called The Colony. And it was like, they put this group of people in like this area in downtown LA where like not a lot of people lived and like, it was kind of like remote. And like, it was like a psychological like reality show where they were pretending that it was the end of the world and like they were the only ones there. So they had to deal with like marauders and like where they were going to get their food. And then like, even though they knew they were on a reality show, some of them started like slightly going crazy because like they couldn't figure out what was reality and what was fake anymore. And it was just so fascinating to me. And yeah, I think that's something that I could see myself doing. I think it would be fun.
See, I keep waiting for you to go on The Masked Singer, but then your sister was just on this last season. So I was like, well, it's not going to be this season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. People are always, the amount of times people have thought I've already was on it. I mean, I've had best friends like, Tahj, come on, tell us. Like, I know you can't tell us, but it's you, right? And I'm just like, no, like,
wink twice.
It's not me. So yeah, but yeah, my sister, she kills it, man. She did so good.
And then speaking of music, you do music as well. You've like collaborated with like Flo Rida and people like that. If you had like a dream music collaborator, who would that be?
Ooh. Oh, wow. That's a good question. Probably like Pharrell or Kanye and that's maybe like that's such a good question. Brandy, she like pretty much taught me how to sing, like when I was like learning how to sing. Yeah, I feel like those are top ones.
Okay. Last listener question. What is the craziest Disney story you have? Like either like behind the scenes or while filming. You can omit names as well if
right.
you don't want to get someone in trouble.
Man, there's like a couple that are popping into my head. Craziest Disney story. Well, I had during, the height of Disney Channel Circle of Life days, like I had the biggest crush on Hilary Duff. And like, I just thought we were so cool when we would like text each other. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool. Like I'm texting Hilary Duff. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Raven and I used to hang out. This is a good one. Raven and I used to hang out all the time. And in LA, there used to be this like underage club, like for like under 18-year-olds, right? Like where you go and like drink Sprite and like hang out on the dance floor, like ridiculous. And it was called Club 17. And it was right in the middle of Hollywood. And like, that's where everybody was at. Like, when you couldn't drink, right? You just go there and like hang out and pretend you're cool and like dance on the day, circle around the club, that kind of stuff. But I'd say the craziest times were just meeting up at Club 17 with like Raven and just thinking we were the
Awesome. So last but not least, where can people watch your new movie, Welcome Matt, which comes out tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, it comes out tomorrow, May 28th. You have all Memorial Day weekend to watch it, and after that, but it'll be in select theaters and as well as on demand, like video on demand. So anywhere you buy your movies, whether it's iTunes, Amazon Prime, Vudu, all that, it'll be available on all those. So if it's not playing at a theater near you, you could just, turn on your TV and click the purchase button and watch it on your couch, and I think now that's pretty common, giving viewers the chance to either go to a theater or watch it at home. So I think that's pretty cool too. But yes, this Friday.
Awesome.
Any favorite board games we need to know about, or card games?
Ooh, I love Stratego.
Oh yeah.
Me and my nephew love Guess Who. We play that. And he is currently the Uno champion. My oldest nephew, he literally beats me every time. I don't know how he does it. And the games get pretty intense too. One of these days I'm going to have to do like an Instagram live of like our Uno games, because they are great. Like my sister will walk in and be like, "Are you guys okay? Like, what's happening?" Like we're slamming cards down, like it gets pretty intense. But I love game nights. Cards Against Humanity. Game nights with wine covering the coffee table and a bunch of games and great friends. I can't wait till once COVID's over with and I can start doing game nights again. But yeah, love games.
Close.
I know. I can see this.
Yeah, we're almost there, guys.
Like, take this mask off.
Yeah, for real. I'm over it.
Which I think the country is 50% vaccinated now. So we're
I saw a map. Just the other day, and I was like,
I know.
I don't think I've ever been more excited about, like, after I got my second shot, like after the 2 weeks, I was like, I'm fully vaccinated, like throwing my mask. I mean, obviously I'm keeping it on, like, to be safe, but like, in my house, I'm like, ah.
Right.
Amazing. It was awesome talking to you. And we can't wait for the movie. You guys
as well. Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.